Hello, good people. Welcome to our show. Hello, bad people. Welcome to our show. Hello, anyone who wanna learn more about SEO, digital marketing, podcasting, and how to win customer attention. Welcome. Today we are going to discuss more about podcasts, how you can mix AI implementation with podcasts that you have, how you can start your podcast if you don't have it. It's a big mistake if you ignore this channel because many people started to listen podcasts. It's popular today. According to data, plus 30% of Americans can listen podcasts. It's a lot of people. You can't ignore all this audience. I'm so excited to discuss all these topics with Rob Greenlee. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me to the show. It's great to be back on the show. And I know we've done a couple of conversations in the past, and they've always been fantastic. And it's always great to join your community and talk about podcasting and all the cool stuff that's going on.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I enjoy all these conversations. It's very fun, valuable for me, especially when I'm looking for different solutions. I have my podcast, but I know you're super active, much better than me on podcasting field because I pay attention to different channels. But I'm learning. I'm learning from you, from many others, how to improve it, how to get better results. And what I can see, many businesses still ignore podcasting. It's a big mistake from my side. I think you don't need to ignore this channel. It doesn't take a lot of resources. Everything what you need to do, just start, because according to data, people even don't start. Rob, before we deep dive on this topic, tell more about your experience, background, and anything that can help our listeners to learn more about you.
Well, I think the big thing is I've been working in podcasting for about 21 years now. So it's just been a medium that's been so important to my life and my career, and it's just so much fun too. That's the thing is, it's a lot of work, but it's also a creative process. It's also really, really good uh, medium to reach new people and to make business connections, as well as build a personal brand. And I think that's a big part of podcasting today is personal brand, and is podcasting has always reflected the current technology of the day. So, and that's a good lead into what we're seeing with AI and the technology layer that's growing and building. And so I've always lived kind of at the cutting edge of that. I've always tried to stay ahead of the curve if I can, to see where things are going and what the evolutions, because really online media has evolved over that 20 years, and it's quite different now than it was when I started 21 years ago. It's actually become really considered to be the medium now that people get most of their information from. So podcasting and what we're seeing with YouTube and increasing expansion of what we're seeing from like Spotify, and now there's talk about working with Netflix. So what we saw with Netflix is kind of a controlled kind of media experience is actually expanding to take on what's being called video podcasts. So it's changing people's perception of what podcasting is. It's kind of expanding it. It's making it more complete to include a lot of different formats of content and a lot of different ways of doing it. And it's also professionalizing. It's people are investing a lot in professional equipment. They're really concerned about the presentation of it. Is it connecting with audiences and holding their attention? And is it being monetized? So I think those are the big things that I'm focused on, and are also behind what's happening with online content and online media now, even beyond one's perception of what a podcast is. It's really the online media space that is really transforming the world.
Yeah, nice, nice. Rob, you mentioned like plus 20 years, 22 years in podcasting field. Honestly, I didn't discover podcast 20 years ago. I discovered like, if I remember correctly, probably 10 years ago, I started to listen podcasts. I love this format, especially when I'm running or exercising or driving, because for me, that was important to save this time by to educate myself to do different things, because you can't watch all the day to this monitor blue screen. It can impact to the eyes.
Yeah.
But when I am doing something differently, I still want to learn. I still want to consume content. That is why I fall love on this format. But you mentioned 22 years ago, if I'm right. So how you found like 22 years ago this format?
Well, I mean, it was quite different back then. Actually, I started on the radio, is where I
Oh, okay.
started. So, and evolved over time. So I took that radio show and I made it digital. I made an MP3 file and I started making it available off my website. And back in that time, I was also working in SEO and trying to help small businesses get into search engines like Yahoo, which was a big discovery platform back in the day. It was really more like a directory, but and then some of the early search engines were coming in and helping people find small businesses and large businesses. So it was really kind of what I saw in the early years was that online was really a content marketing channel, and people were reaching people in new ways. It wasn't just through like the yellow book anymore. It was through going to a website, or it was, so that's always been an important part of my background because I'm a marketing guy by education. I have a marketing degree from college, and so I was doing a lot of marketing through media back in the early days of my career, and so that was a big evolution for me as I was like going, wow, it really opened my eyes to online being a great way to create direct connections with customers and audiences, right? So it was like a direct panel. It didn't have to go through some third party media source or a network or something like that. It could be direct. And so that's where the opportunity is. And it still continues today. It's actually gone to a level that is really kind of beyond anything that I thought was realistic and possible. And we're always pushing further and further and further. And this move into video now is really changing the landscape too. Because I came out of the audio era um, mostly. But video was important in the early years of podcasting as well, and then it kind of dissipated for a while, and became more audio. So now we're in this era of we're both audio and video again, and it's not always kumbaya. It's
Yeah.
not always a a a pathway that a lot of people like, because a lot of people struggle to create good video. So it's something, unless you know how to do it, and there's tools now like what we're using here that makes it really easy to do video and audio at the same time, which is what I evolved into a couple of years ago. I used to work for StreamYard, and so we would create content online for my podcast, but create it at the same time, video and audio. So that's kind of how things have evolved, because people like to see things, see people. And this
Yeah.
is really a people medium is what it is.
Nice. So basically, by now, two human beings, Anatoly and Rob, are sitting here to have this podcast. I'm not sure about 3, 5 years, probably when I will invite you next time and you will reply to me. My AI agent will represent me.
Right, right.
But
It'll probably do the whole interview.
yeah. So I think it's possible. Anything is possible, because even today,
Yeah,
according to data, 46% of all people follow just one AI avatar on social media. It's a lot. I mean, like
yeah,
sometimes we even don't know that content was created by AI, because I always
yeah,
watch some videos on YouTube, faceless videos. I,
yeah.
I love to listen podcasts, that were created by AI, because I care about quality. I don't care the format, who created this content, if it's quality, if it's valuable. I can use it. So can you tell about AI implementation? For example, in your workflow, for example, you have your podcast, you still show yourself, but what kind of other things AI can help you to improve quality?
Yeah, I think AI needs to be approached to some degree with some caution. It's not perfect yet. It's not a perfect reflection of me. So I use AI really as almost like a fast start type of a scenario where I can get structure, I can get some ideas, and that I can kind of integrate into my content. But it's always under my view from a human perspective because I wanted to make sure that it's in my voice and seen as authentic. And because increasingly what we're going to see happen is that content that's solely fully created by AI is probably going to have to be labeled as such. I think that's probably the most likely direction that we're going to see this go. And then content that's created by human will probably have to be labeled as human. so
Yeah.
so people will trust what they're seeing or choose not to, right? It's basically this concept of transparency. And I think that's a little bit of what we're going through right now too. But I do think, and I think you would probably agree that at some point down the path, it's probably not going to matter, right? This whole
Yeah.
distinction between human and AI. Because I know that Elon Musk was just quoted just a couple days ago saying that he thought that in 5 years, pretty much all content was going to be AI generated, which is quite a statement, which is almost gives me a perspective that the AI is going to kind of replace humans, but maybe not in the way that people are thinking. I think AI will probably, like you were just saying about an agent, right? It'll probably create a likeness like me that's
Yeah.
generated by AI, that's derived from hundreds of hours of content that I've created. So what does come out will be indistinguishable
Yeah.
from the real Rob Greenlee. So I may be able to scale what I do and how much content I create to a much higher level and still hold on to trust. And I think that's and believability. There's still times that I watch, even today, I watch content on YouTube that I'm not always 100% sure that this is a real human, right?
Yeah.
There's little things that you can tell in the person being represented on the screen, but there's maybe little glitches in its visual experience, right? That just don't align with what you would expect to see from a human. So that are little clues. So once those little clues get wiped away, and that
Yeah.
the AI becomes so good that you can't tell through little glitches in like facial movements or
Yeah.
jerkiness, right?
Yeah.
And you're seeing this with some of the robots too that are starting to be announced now too, where they're becoming a little bit more human motion like, right? So because most of the robots and AI have been a little bit mechanical in their movements, right? So this is part of what I'm trying to say is that I do agree, I think, with Elon that eventually robots and AI digital creations will be as close to humans as they can be, and eventually, even if it's beyond 5 years, you will not be able to tell. So I'll be able to create an avatar of myself and feed it what I want it to say, and it will just auto generate everything with my background and with my my voice. Um, the thing that I wrote an article about on here recently was is is the distinction between human and AI content is this level of flaws, right? Is that how people are going to be able to tell what's AI and what's not? Because AI generally, unless it's going to be programmed to have your flaws,
Hmm.
in your presentation and how you speak, if it'll be 100% accurate, but will it ever be 100% accurate? It may only ever get to like 98% accurate. So,
Hmm.
or reflect how you express yourself. Because I know when I come on podcasts like yours here, I have probably a slightly different mindset every time I come into it, and my presentation is not always the same, right? So my voice maybe have a little scratchiness in it, or it may be fluid, right, and not have any scratchiness. I don't know that AI is going to be human like that, that has that
Yeah,
variability. So there's always going to be some element of what AI generates that will not be 100% human. So,
yeah.
and that worries me a little bit. I don't know what you think about that, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Uh, I can think a little bit differently. It's not like that I'm right or wrong, so everyone can have
Yeah,
own opinion. I'm terrible with forecast. For example, I remember like 10 years ago, one of my friends came to me and asked, "Do you want to buy 1,000 bitcoins? This thing can become a thing." I replied,
a
"No, I
thousand
don't."
bitcoins. Did you buy it?
No, 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 I didn't. I replied, I don't understand what it is. So sorry, I never invest and in anything if I don't understand how it works. So I
Yeah.
denied this request. He told me, okay, just buy 100 bitcoins if you are not ready to buy 1,000. I replied, no, 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 I will never take it. So yeah,
I bet you
uh,
regret
and
that now, though.
I don't think it's a good idea to regret about anything. If something happens,
Yeah.
it happens because I know some people who
What was the reason for what happened
yeah,
back then?
I,
Yeah.
I I saw some people who invested in the beginning on Amazon. So in the beginning of this small company Amazon, and they are become rich. I don't want to name them, but people have money that they didn't earn by working hard, and I'm not sure it can help at all because
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not the life that you wanna get. So when something can solve all your problems on this life, what's the purpose? Okay, I could buy these bitcoins probably. And I remember like in 2008 I created a financial company in Ukraine. That was a big company, so I thought that I could scale this company, and we were great. We got great results, real good results. But in one time when in 2008 the world crisis came,
Yeah.
it destroyed everything, all my investment. I earned a lot of money, but I borrowed a lot more to scale, and that was a big mistake. I was young and didn't understand that it's not like the life that you can live. I mean, like everything is white. No, sometimes you have dark days, and you need to
Yeah.
prepare for that. So, and when world crisis came, Ukrainian government disallowed completely all banking loans, and it's like to forbid all my business. I couldn't go with this business. I lost everything, even more.
Wow.
My
Wow.
debts were like to 3,000 average salaries in Ukraine. So I mean, like that was really tough. But in that time, that was tough. But after that, I learned. Wow. So all these problems, all these challenges became me a human. So I started to work to find the way how to do it better, where to go, how to solve these problems. I
Yeah.
created a new business, a new model. And I think if something happens, it's okay, it's normal. You need to go ahead. And according to that about my opinion about that. So I think Elon Musk is great. I respect this guy. You can love, hate him. It doesn't matter. So he's successful. But
Yeah.
I can't agree with him fully. I like more opinion from CEO of Google, and he said it's always be the place for human being. For example, people can create robots who can play better soccer than Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Who will watch this? Who will watch how 22 robots can play much better than Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo? Is it interesting? Of course, people will watch Messi and Ronaldo and many other real footballs. When people created cars, it didn't stop Olympic Games. We are
Yeah.
still interested to watch how people can run, how
Yeah.
they can jump. To show, I mean, like robots, of course, can beat in one side humans, but robots don't buy products. Robots don't
Well,
entertain with
well, at least
products.
not yet, anyway.
Yeah, so even for example, even if we launch our AI avatars who can handle this podcast, but AI agents will not watch this podcast or listen this podcast because people will consume this content. So I'm okay to use AI. I love this experience. I test a lot. Probably today AI can't replace fully, but I think we still have some for human beings, because
Oh yeah.
people pay for products, and people wanna see real humans. So it's
Yeah,
my
I think that
opinion.
there's always going to be a place for that, and I think
Of course.
that's the important part. But I do want to say that I do think that AI is going to watch
Yeah.
because it's going to. So AI is going to learn from other AI
Yeah.
because other AI has been trained in a different way
Yeah.
than other AI. The question gets back to, well, how many different AIs is there going to be? And I think that's the question. How many robots that are going to be derived on a unique AI, right? I
Yeah.
think that's a question that I have in my mind, and I'm not sure that anybody has an answer to that quite yet. But I do know that there's a lot of AI platforms now. There's AI that's probably going to be built into our mobile devices that'll be more localized, so it'll become probably more ours, right? Personally ours, and it will represent who we are more. And then there's going to be these big centralized AIs like a Grok or a OpenAI type of a
Yeah.
ecosystem or Google Gemini or those that will be very, very big AIs, right? And then eventually what we'll have quantum computers that will run um, super AI, which is the ultimate intelligence that will,
Yeah.
take things to a whole nother level.
Yeah, according to Elon Musk, I remember when he said someone asked him on Twitter which browser is better, and he replied to him, "What browser means?" So I
Right.
mean, like,
No browser is probably better, right?
yeah.
As far as he's
So,
concerned.
so I mean, like, of course, applications can take some place, but we
Yeah.
still use browsers. I'm using them every day, and I remember when
Yeah.
radio was invented. Many
Yeah.
people said
Well,
that it will replace books, newspaper. It didn't. People still read newspapers, books. When TV was created, everyone
yeah.
said that it can replace radio. It didn't, So
Right.
it,
Well,
it takes
yeah, I
some
agree with
time.
you about the browser thing. I agree with it because I think there was an announcement, I think from a couple of these AI companies that they were launching their own new browser. And I think the
Yeah, check
reason
it.
for that is to run the AI agents inside of those browsers.
Yeah, I tested this browser, Atlas from OpenAI. It's a
Atlas,
good
right.
browser.
Correct.
Yeah, I like this browser. I tested a little bit because I mean, like, when you work with any websites, you can ask directly on this browser to analyze data. So you open any page, it can be website audit, accounting, anything. So, and you can ask directly, please scan this page and give me data what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. So very valuable for me. I love this experience. And my brothers are working in accounting niche in the US like for a long time, plus 20 years. They have great experience, and they told me most specialists on this niche still ignore AI. It's a big mistake, real big mistake, because they can do the process that accountants can do like in a month for a few hours. For a few
Yeah.
hours, they count a lot of data by using AI.
Yeah.
And for me, AI is not like replacement. It's a
Yeah.
machine. That machine still needs a driver, who can drive this. Anyway, even for example, you mentioned that
Yeah.
some people can consume AI content, but this content was driven by human. They use AI, but
Yeah. I mean, that's where it's
human.
all coming from today, right? Is
Yeah,
is humans are the source of information for AI, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
been historically been the case as well, but it's still today. And I mean, to be honest with you, I don't 100% trust AI right now to do a good job of tasks that I give it. I don't. My expectations have not risen to a level of dependency, right? It's really more I just see it make a lot of mistakes, to be quite honest with you. And it just doesn't quite get things quite right. And just small things like it adds characters to the text that isn't normal, like these long dashes that creates kind of like almost like a sentence, and then it wants to add emojis to everything, and it's like that's just not how humans communicate. I mean, it's a way to make content that looks like was created by AI, but maybe you, as a human, I don't know that I want to put that out there because then it makes it look like I'm being lazy or something, or I'm not creating taking responsibility for what I put out as my thoughts. I think we're still in that era where people expect that humans are behind the content that's derived from AI, and that it's being reviewed and it's being made in a way that is reflective of my voice or your
Yeah,
voice. Still today, I don't think we've moved to a point of absolute trust that
of course.
what comes out of these things is representing me. I do
Yeah.
think that we'll probably wind up getting there, but I'm not sure what the time frame is on that.
Yeah. I think, AI can be driven by experts. I mean, like, for example, of course, AI can make mistakes, can mislead, can hallucinate,
Yeah.
whatever. But if experts can check out all these results, I mean, like, for example, if you ask me to create any great content about weight loss, I fail because I'm not
Yeah.
an expert on that. Even when I lost my weight, I spent a lot of time. That is personal experience. I can't teach others, but I did it. I had this obesity, and I decided to fight. I used many methods. I failed with all of them, but fasting can help me. So basically, I stopped eating breakfast for a while. I didn't eat the entire Monday, for a long time. So, and it helped me. But I can't teach others do the same, because someone can train and get much better shape. Someone can eat healthy food. It depends. And the main problem with AI, when people try to uh, create content in different topics that they don't understand. When experts can ask the right prompts, the right questions, they can analyze if it's correct or not. It's not
Yeah.
like replacement. It's more about uh, to edit results. For example, if I can get good results, I can ask twice. I can ask to recheck. I can share my data. So I'm leading this tool. If I research everything by my side, yeah, of course it takes a lot more time. But if you lead in the right direction in
Yeah.
your niche, you can get great results. So AI
Yeah.
can
I
write in
agree.
different voices, different styles. So if it's driven by experts.
Yeah. I really think that the quality of output comes from the quality of the prompt. There's no
Yeah,
question about that. And Sally raises a good point. I see on the screen there about,
yeah.
you know, it says that AI will replace jobs, but in reality, it's not AI replacing people. It's people who know how to use AI are replacing those that don't.
Yeah.
And I know that's been a common theme, and I think it's accurate probably today.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure it'll be accurate 5 years from now, but that's something that we just don't know yet. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think
Uh,
AI has gotten to a point where it's going to replace everybody's jobs.
Yeah. I think, Rob, we are on the second stage. First stage, Google, ChatGPT, who can create
Yeah.
this technology. But for me, I'm terrible with forecast. I failed with Bitcoin price. I failed with American president, who can become with many
Right.
things. But I think if you are terrible with forecast like me, for example, I don't know. It's better to enjoy these surprises, what you can get and adapt much faster. So if
Yeah.
I see customer attention can go to different place, okay, I can start learning about that. So I can jump in a new field. And marketers on TV and radio didn't lose their job. They adapted to digital. If virtual reality will come, we will adapt to virtual reality. But
Yeah.
if you have experience in one specific field, you can adapt much faster to
Yeah.
another field. So much faster, you can, but without experience, it's really tough. So if you're good with writing, you can write books, you can write blog posts. If you're good with podcasting, probably you will go to, I don't know, what can be next, after podcasting. Some
I don't know
virtual
what's
reality.
next, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think it's probably what's next is more infiltration of AI into our work lives and into our lives just in general. And it is remarkable to see these new humanoid robots start to evolve and develop, because wonder, and I think a lot of people are projecting that they're going to be coming into our lives. I think we'll see them more around doing things. It's going to happen first at the manufacturing level, and these robots are going to build things much more efficiently than humans can. Now, that is one area that's going to put people out of work. But that's been going on for a long time. I mean, just look at like an Amazon.com, and they've been using robots to replace humans for like the last 5 years. So it's not a new thing. I think they have like 5 million robots that are running in their warehouses already. So
Yeah.
it's already here. It's just not quite yet humanoid shape and form robots yet. It's those are still in the development phase, and but I think that they're coming, and it's going to be a cultural shift for all of us to accept them into our lives
Yeah.
that I think we haven't faced yet. So,
Okay. Yeah.
right.
Rob, I want to ask about the gadget that can transfer your voice to listeners. I have my gadget, you have yours. I see you have on your background many other microphones,
Oh
So,
yeah, I've been
yeah,
through a
and
lot. Yeah.
I think it's our main instrument for podcasting. Can you tell how to find the right microphone and where to pay attention? Because we have many different choices, expensive, cheap choices, or lead in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated choice right now. I know I'm constantly tinkering with different microphones and different ways to record content, and this particular microphone, the Shure SM7B, I've had since about 2009. So I've had this same microphone for many years, and
Wow.
you buy a good quality microphone that's kind of expensive, and more than often those are microphones that will last, right? You can buy lower cost microphones, but they may not last, right? So you kind of pay for what you get with a microphone, but they also need to be. It depends on what you're using them for. But if you're using for like what we're doing here, we both have chosen what's called dynamic microphones, which are ones that have a close proximity pickup pattern, right? So they don't have as much issue with echo in a room or background noises that might get into your recordings. But it does mean that you have to be up on them pretty closely. I mean, we're like both of us are within like 3 or 4 inches of our microphone, and that's ideal. And for these type of microphones, that's what you have to do. But there are other microphones too. I have one here that's like a shotgun microphone. That's you can mount further away from you. That can have a good pickup pattern too. But it gets back to the acoustics in your room. So creating a recording environment is something that's a little old school. Because there is technology now. If you look at like Adobe Podcasts and their platform, they're taking content that could be recorded on like a shotgun microphone or a lavalier or whatever, and running algorithms against it to make it sound like it's a studio recording, right? With a condenser microphone and has the deep, sound frequencies that you would expect from a high quality, recording in a studio or something like that. So you can use these technologies to use inexpensive microphones to then upscale the recordings into something that sounds a lot more professional than maybe the raw recordings that you got out of them. So it creates this choice that you have to make. There's people that will enter podcasting and use an inexpensive microphone like a Samsung Q2U, which I have behind me as well, or Audio Technica 2100X. And you can get into one of those microphones for like $50, $60, and at least get started with it. Or you can just use your iPhone or your Android device as a microphone. Those have pretty decent microphones that you can use, and then you just take that audio and run it through like an Adobe podcast algorithm, and it will upscale it to a higher quality recording. So really the entry point is whatever you can afford really at this point. And my go-to is Shure. Your go-to is Shure too. I've got the same mic behind me that you're using that's on my shelf back here. I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
it there. It's mounted on a mic
Yeah, yeah,
stand
I
right
see, I
there.
see.
Yeah, yeah. So I got that one because that microphone, the MV7 came out. This probably been 5 years ago now, and that was like the baby brother to this one,
Nice,
and
nice.
it sounds terrific. But it's really that microphone, that MV7 is really a handheld microphone. It's like I think it's the SM58, I think is really what that microphone is, the SM58, which is the handheld microphone,
Yeah.
that was mounted in a case that makes it look more like this.
Yeah, yeah, nice, nice. Uh, most of my audience consists of businesses who are looking for ways how to grow revenue, how to get more sales. I
Yeah,
think it's the most important topic. And
yeah,
if someone will decide to jump in podcast, um, can you tell how to monetize all efforts? Because I think like we have many different
yeah,
ways, and most podcasts are not like Joe Rogan experience, So yeah, they're looking for different ways to sell products mostly. No, so
yeah.
tell the best way.
Yeah, I think I mean, there's a lot of choices on that path right now. You can have advertising in your podcast that's automated now. It's called programmatic podcast advertising, and most of the big podcast hosts support what's called programmatic advertising. And really, the simple explanation of it is you create an audio show, and then you set up different insertion points in your content, and the servers or the computers will deliver ads to your podcast, and you get paid from that, or a revenue share. So that's one thing that you can do today. So you start publishing an audio show, and you can turn on monetization from day one, from your first episode. So you're already on the path to monetization at that point. It's really a question of scale, right? The more listeners you get, the more money you're going to make. So that's the key thing. And you don't have as much control over the content of the ads, who the advertisers are. You have some level of global control over what type of genres of ads that you accept in your show. Um, but you know, there can be a lot of variability there. So if you want to have more control over the ads that are in your show, then that's where you move into what's called host reads, where you would actually voice a 30-second or a 60-second endorsement of a particular brand or product in your show. And that brand or product can be an affiliate relationship, or it can be your own product, or it can be from a sponsor. So there's a whole spectrum here, and you can bake it into the content, or you can utilize dynamic ad insertion, which is really the same technology as the programmatic. It's just that you're recording the spot yourself. It's not being recorded by an agency or a talent. So you're actually recording that, and then you're dynamically, through the same methodology of ad insertion, inserting that ad in there, or you're baking it into the content, which means that when you're recording it, you transition, like during this live show, into speaking about a sponsor that you have. So like maybe you'll bring up their logo on the screen, and you'll say, today's show is brought to you by XYZ brand, and I've used it. I've had a great experience with it, and I think it would work well for you too. And then you would offer like a promo code or something like that to get a 10% off. So getting those kind of deals can happen from having a show that caters to a particular niche or demographic that aligns with the demographic and the niche for that brand that you might be able to secure a sponsorship with. So that's really the spectrum. But really, I think most podcasters today are getting involved in creating like private channels where there's a subscription involved. There's also merch. There's that kind of approach too, where you make digital products or you make physical products, and you make those available through YouTube and through your podcast, and you talk about your products in your show as like a sponsor, right? So
Yeah.
you have that way of doing it. And then there's like the consulting side, right? So your podcast is all about the services that you offer, the trainings or the masterminds or the groups. Like I have a community over on schools that's a monetized consulting community. So that's another way that you can derive some income. It takes some effort. You have to grow your community and you have to build trust and you have to really work at it. It's like all these things require work, and so it depends on what your commitment is and what your willingness to invest into working with different types of platforms to turn on these various pieces. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a brief explanation. It's a very complex situation that everybody does things a little bit different. You can make money from creating a monetized channel on YouTube too. I have a monetized channel on YouTube, but I'm also working on a couple of different channels. So it's really it takes a lot of work to succeed at any of this stuff. So I don't want to give the impression that it's an easy process to do all this to earn six figures or something like that on creating content.
Yeah, by the way, it's easy if you make your hands dirty for a long time. I mean, like, I don't know how to become an influencer on Instagram for a day. I have no idea how to become Mr. Beast. On YouTube. Just for a few days. Patience. It's everywhere. Without
Yeah,
patience, it's impossible to achieve anything. If
yeah,
you are not willing to work hard in specific niche, in specific direction, in specific channel, I'm not sure you can achieve anything. I mean, like what I often see when people try something and leave it. I saw someone say to me, I tried to promote this website for 6 months. I think about another niche. I replied, what? Some businesses wait for 2 years, to get first
oh yeah,
results. How you can achieve results for 6 months? It takes time, So to grow on specific channel, even Mr. Beast, if I remember, like 7 years spent to become someone, because for 7 years he was like nobody, Yeah, but
yeah.
if you love one niche, if you are willing to sacrifice your hobbies, for example, I can work on Sunday evening, Saturday night because I love it. For me, it's like watching TV or playing online games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's fun for you,
Yeah,
then it's not really work, right?
yeah. And Rob, I have my final question, very important question. For my audience, I mean, like, for example, I'm Ukrainian, and I have my pronunciation probably not the best, but I think for me it's more important to consider my strong side, to share value, what I can do. It's not about the way how I can speak. I can fix it. Probably if I fix, then I can lose in my value. I analyze that. So you can become successful to have great voice and to share value what you can. So
Yeah.
I play myself. So and can you tell about your experience, how to improve this confidence? Because when I asked you anything, you reply fast, you reply confident, you share all these insights, valuable bombs with us. So tell for someone who just started, shy, have no experience, but how to improve this confidence.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's a matter of repetition. I used to be
Yeah,
a college basketball player or, an athlete, and practice, practice, practice is my
yeah,
was my motto, and it was drilled into my head by my coaches. So it was just one of those things that has grown for me over 20 plus years of being in the media, doing television, doing on stage presentations, to hosting lots of different podcasts and stuff like that. It just builds over time. It builds your confidence. It builds your ability to think quickly and to respond. And because you've had that experience base, you've been in a lot of different situations. And like being a competitive basketball player, it was a lot like that, right? It's the preparation before, it's the practice, the discipline of being able to focus and to think and process information quickly is really important. Now, granted, as you get older, you kind of slow down in some of those areas, so you really have to really overcompensate from the standpoint of bringing a lot of energy and bringing, a cheerful attitude to everything that you do, and to try and help other people. Always at the core of everything that I do now is all about, well, how is this going to be relevant to someone else, and what can I say, or what can I help them understand. Just like that question right there is, how do you grow confidence? Well, confidence is grown from repetition and putting yourself in difficult situations and not quitting, right? And
Yeah.
to keep pushing through and thinking about, well, how could I have done that a little bit better? And
Yeah.
and that is always that was the mantra for my basketball playing years too, because when you're a competitive athlete, your goal is to win every game that you play, right? And to perform at the level that is needed to make this team successful. And being a team player is also a little different here too, because being a content creator is not necessarily always a team sport, but it can be. So if you've built a team around you that supports you, right? That does the editing and does the publishing or does marketing or whatever for you, you are building a team. It's almost like building a basketball team, right? So you have different players that have a role, and your role is to be the orchestrator of that team or the coach, right? And then if you're the creator and the coach, then you're wearing two different kinds of hats, right? You're a people manager on one side, but yet you're a talent too. And increasingly, that's what all of us are becoming is coaches and talent, and that requires learning about how to do those things and do them effectively, and to be able to do them in a way that motivates people, but it inspires people too. So being a manager of sorts is a different role from being a talent or a creator. A talent and creator is that you're inspiring people, but in some ways, being a coach, you're having to inspire people too, to challenge themselves, to learn something new. But also being a leader, you have to be willing to listen to other people's ideas too. So that's where you kind of get into this blending of growing confidence in what you're doing and creating processes and working through those steps that you have to do to make a successful outcome. And it's not always clear what it looks like to create a successful outcome of basically anything these days. So it's a bumpy process, right? You're going to stumble, you're going to succeed sometimes. It's the same thing with creating a podcast. It's not always going to be smooth sailing. You're not going to launch episode 1 and your growth curve is going to be steady like this. It's really going to be like this.
Yeah.
And just like you see in the stock market or with Bitcoin or whatever, it's up and down. So you have to be patient.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when Gary Vaynerchuk replied to this question. Someone
Right.
asked him how he built his confidence, and he replied, he started to build it when he started to speak from
Yeah,
3 years
right.
old.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it's
Gary's a
crazy.
good one to talk about that, right? I mean, he's been through it. Yeah, I met Gary back in 2007, and that was at the very beginning of his path. But he's really built himself quite a influential
Yeah.
kind of personality out there. Yeah.
So did you drink wine with him in 2007? Like, because at that time he was not a marketer.
Yeah. No, I didn't actually drink wine with him. Actually, I met him at South by Southwest. So
Okay, got it.
at the conference
Yeah.
in Austin. Right.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
started a wine business to promote
Oh
his
yeah.
that store business, and then he jumped on this
Yeah. He's
marketing.
moved way beyond that now. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Rob, it's a big pleasure to get on the show. Welcome back anytime to bring all these valuable bombs to inspire my audience how to start, how to grow their businesses. Tell the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how to listen all your podcasts.
Well, it's all available off of a couple of different websites. So I have robgreenlee.com, and that's as you can see on the screen if you're watching this, just robgreenlee.com, and that has a lot of the content that I put out. I also have a blog. Actually, we were just looking at it before we did the show, and then I have another site called it's adorenetwork.com that you can go to as well. It's got a bunch of my podcasts in there, but there's other partners podcasts that I support and help that are in that on that site too. It's a podcast network, and then I have a community at schools, and it's at school.com / was it the Adore Network? So you just type in Adore Network after the slash off of schools.com. Or what was it? School.com, I believe.
Okay.
But or you can send an email to me if you want to send me an email to robgreenlee@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you.
Nice. Guys, you can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again, Rob. It's a big pleasure. Welcome back anytime. So
All right, Anatoly.
I know that
Thank
your
you.
experience is great. Yeah.
It's always fun to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank
And
you guys for
for
listening and watching us.
watching.